It may be a day late, but a happy National Muay Thai Day to all those celebrating Muay Thai around the world. Past legends, current legends, and future legends, happy National Muay Thai Day. It was yesterday, but here we are today. Welcome to Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton, the weekly kickboxing podcast. I'll be your host, Tim Wheaton, and we have tons of news and announcements going on in the world of kickboxing. K-1 has made a ton of announcements for their upcoming K-1 Max show later this year. We also have more collaboration news between K-1 and Rise that we're very, very excited for. We also have some news coming out from Glory about the changing divisions that they have, the plans for the future of Glory, and what the community's thoughts are on this. We're going to talk about some RWS Muay Thai, some Saenchai as well, and then some One Friday Fights 51. So folks, let's jump into it. Let's talk about the news coming out from a few days ago that there will be many more collaborations between K-1 and Rise. Later this year, they're going to be doing tons of champion versus champion matchups, former champions versus former champion matchups. It's a really fun time to be a fan of kickboxing. This is going to be a really exciting one. And so as far as we know, it's going to be spread across two events. There is the Rise El Dorado on March 17th, and then there's going to be K-1 World Max on March 20th. And those are going to host the majority of the K-1 versus Rise fight cards. So Rise El Dorado, that's going to be coming up on March 17th. We already know that the main event will be Toki Tamaru versus Shiro. That's two Rise champions, two top pound-for-pound strikers. Really good main event. And then it was just announced this week that there was going to be the Rise lightweight champion and knockout striker, Kan Nakamura, who will be taking on Yukioza, the K-1 lightweight champion. This is like Nakamura has an 80% knockout win rate, and he's a champion in Rise, while Yukioza, the champion in K1, is one of the highest skilled people currently active in kickboxing. He has a huge fight win streak. He's an extremely impressive and talented fighter. He also works with Takeru quite closely. So it's a matter of skill versus power, K1 versus Rise. That is such a good fight. We also have the former Rise bantamweight champion, Masahiko Suzuki. He has been booked against Akihiro Kaneko, who is the current K1 super bantamweight champion. Masahiko Suzuki is one of the most exciting fighters in kickboxing. Win or lose, he is ready to throw down. Almost all of his fights are nominated for Fight of the Year contenders. He is always exciting, and he is extremely talented as well. Akihiro Kaneko is one of the top fighters active right now. A reigning champion, this is going to be such a fun fight. It's going to be such an exciting fight, I think. I mean, I'll talk about it closer to the date, but yeah, but I am really excited for this fight, and I'm looking forward to breaking it down as March arrives. Other fights, you have Ryo Hanuaka versus Koji Ikeda, Hayu against Ryuki, and Yuki Tanaka against Koya Sato. So some really good fights. That's going to be a really fun one. And then just a few days later at K1 World Max 2024. So we know that K1 World Max 2024, that they're looking to have a 16-man Grand Prix at 70 kilograms or 155 pounds or lightweight or whatever you want to call it, but 70 kilograms. The fighters for this tournament have not yet been confirmed. We know Ouyang Fang is in it, and we also know Hiromi Wajima will be in it. And I think the rest of the fighters will be announced tomorrow, actually. So that'll be Thursday, February 8th. Should be the announcement. So by the time this goes to air, by the time you're listening, we might know more of the fighters in the 16-man Grand Prix. Check out Combat Press, check out Beyond Kick. They will have the news up there. So that is on March 20th. But March 20th, K1 World Max Grand Prix will also have, in addition to kicking off that 70 kilogram Grand Prix, we'll have more K1 versus Rise matchups. So the K1 featherweight champion Taito Gunji will face Kaitsuki Monguchi, who is the current featherweight champion in Rise. Both of these, if you look at their records, just an incredible win streak from both men, two top fighters in the sport. Taito Gunji was Fight of the Year for like MMA Sucka and other websites that I worked for. But yeah, just an incredible fighter who has a really good background, a really quality fighter. The one I'm most excited for, though, and I'm not going to lie to you folks, this is the one I'm most excited for. It's the Atomweight champion versus Atomweight champion. Miyu Sugawara will take on Kaioki Miyazaki, both current reigning Atomweight champions, K1 versus Rise. I'm so excited for this one. It's going to be such a banger. A notch on the pound-for-pound women's rankings is definitely on the line in this fight. You also have former champions Yuki Igawa versus Hayumi Hitachi. You also have Shoki Kaneda versus Daiki Todo. You also have Yuta Matsuyama set for a showdown against Adri Haraguchi. So the K1 versus Rise matchups are going to be spread across March 17th and March 20th. First Rise Eldorado and then K-1 Max after that. But it's great to see the collaboration between these organizations. Like, look at all the lists that these people work with. Like, both Rise and K-1 work with Shootboxing. K-1 works with WLF, the Chinese organization. Glory and Rise work together. So all these organizations are now reaching out to each other and working very closely with one another. And as a fan of kickboxing, as a person who writes in kickboxing, it is amazing to see. I'm so excited to see more collaborative efforts between all these organizations. We also have more fight announcements for the K-1 World Max fight event booked for March 20th. So the K-1 Grand Prix openweight champion who swept the competition via knockout, Liu Si, will take on Sina Karimian from Iran, who is the current cruiserweight champion. Sina Karimian was able to get the cruiserweight title in 2021 with a knockout against KG. He has won 5 matches since then. Most recently, he is coming off a loss against Claudia Ostrade of Italy, and it was one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen in my life. Look it up. It's super weird. Like, you have to experience it. It takes like half an hour because they keep doing dirty stuff against each other. That was in the openweight Grand Prix. That very same Grand Prix, Liu Si was able to get the win. He defeated Claudio Estrada in the end via first round knockout. Since he defeated 3 fighters on the same night in the Grand Prix, he's added 2 more knockouts to his record via first round stoppage. He's knocked out Seiya Tanagawa and Sebastian Lutinic. So it's going to be a really fun fight between Sina Karimian and Liu Si. I'm really excited for that one. A title will be on the line, and I'm expecting a knockout victory for whoever it might be. And again, closer to the match, we'll do a bigger, more robust breakdown. We also have Antonia from Greece, who is just coming off of her victory against Kana Silverwolf. She will look to defend her crown against Seiho. You also have perennial top contender Masashi Kimura will face the dangerous Italian Waco world champion Luca Sacchetti. Now, I don't know Luca Sacchetti off the top of my head. I'll do more research and get back to you folks, but my understanding is that he is quite good, and this is a very winnable fight for Luca. So when K-1 is signing fighters and they're making their debut, they're not signing some scrub out of the middle of nowhere. They're always signing ISCA or Waco champions or European champions or world champions from other organizations to bring in. And we just saw that with Antonia from Greece. They gave her an instant title shot and she won. Because she got an instant title shot because she was a champion from where she was coming from. She was a very talented fighter. Also on this card has been Kazuki Maburo will take on Rui Okobo, and Koya Urabi will take on Hayato Suzuki. It's going to be a really fun fight event. Like, in those few days there, we have March 9th will be the Glory Heavyweight Grand Prix. March 17th, you have Rise Eldorado. And then on March 20th, you have the K-1 World Max Grand Prix. Just in a week there. It's going to be so much busy stuff going on in the world of kickboxing. You got Glory, you got K-1, you got Rise versus K-1. Amazing. I'm so excited for it. There has also been news that Glory Kickboxing is putting some of their divisions on hold. So women's bantamweight, men's lightweight, and possibly men's featherweight will be put on hold. Their idea, according to matchmaker Robbie Timmers, will be to focus on the divisions where they already have a lot of investment and they feel that they can build up big names and really invest into just a few divisions and go forward very efficiently like that. So it'll just be in the future welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Those are also the divisions that they're going to be doing Grand Prix for in 2024. And I'll offer my opinion on it, and I'll just kind of talk about what Glory's perspective on this probably was and what they're thinking. Because it's important to look at these things very long term, and it's also very important to understand why people make these decisions. But I think it was easier for them to just focus on welterweight and bigger for a few reasons. Like, they already really have a really good welterweight division, and then they can really invest into light heavyweight, as they already have been, invest more into middleweight, and really build up their heavyweight division, because there's no other kickboxing organizations that are really investing into those divisions. Glory can almost be the only one in kickboxing who really invest in those divisions. Yes, other kickboxing organizations kind of have some of those divisions, but not in any meaningful sense. Whereas men's lightweight, 155, 70 kilograms, whatever you want to call it, is a very competitive division. Both Rise has a good division, K-1 has a great division, and One Championship has a very, very good division. So it's a much more competitive one. If you want more competitors at 70 kilograms, you really have to start paying for them. Women's super bantamweight division that they've been on the fence about for a while. Like, if you look at the last 2 years, I think there's been 4 fights in that division. I think they've been talking about that for some time. That one's not a huge surprise, but even though they didn't have too many fights in that division, they did sign new fighters to it. So I was curious about their like long-term thinking in this, because it's very important to think like just because these divisions aren't working today doesn't mean in 2 years with investment they won't be working down the line. And welterweight is working today, but maybe in 2 years it's completely dead. I don't know. I do recognize their welterweight division is amazing, and their 155 and women's super bantamweight and featherweight could use a little bit of work. I recognize that, but that's just today. And again, in 3 years, this might be completely different. But on long-term thinking, it's also very important to think like, what was Glory's long-term thinking for the last little while here? Because they signed new fighters in the last 2 months for women's super bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight. So 2 months ago, they were still looking at growing these divisions, and then this decision has really just been announced in the last day. So how long did they take to really think about this decision? I guess they can go back and undo it. However, maybe the upside of this is that you do see more collaboration with other organizations. So like, for example, we do have the K-1 is looking to sign more fighters in 70 kilograms. What if you're a Glory fighter and you just go out to the K-1 Grand Prix? We know that Rise and Glory are collaborating and going to just unify their featherweight division, 145 or 60 kilograms. They're just unifying it, so it's going to be one division between the two organizations. I don't know why you wouldn't find another organization like K-1 to do that, because we know that K-1 is open to collaborations. We know that Glory is open to collaborations. K-1 wants more 70 kilogram fighters. You want to get rid of your 70 kilogram fighters. What if you just collaborate? K-1 can book them. You can pay a part of it. K-1 takes the ticket sales. You keep your fighters busy and paid. I don't know. I would like to see that because I want to see more collaboration. And again, the 70 kilogram tournament that K-1 Max is putting on is announced on Thursday, is announced tomorrow. I would love to see all Glory fighters, and maybe there will be a collaboration that Glory is saying we're getting rid of our 70 kilogram fighters because they're going to K-1. That would be amazing, and I would forgive Glory instantly for making this decision. But as a fight fan, as a person who covers fights and watches fights across all combat sports, Muay Thai, boxing, MMA, and kickboxing, even sumo wrestling and stuff like that, I greedily want to watch 155 and lower because they put on the best fights. Even in Glory, the best fights for the past few years were all 155 and 145. Those are amazing divisions that put on incredible, incredible fights. And again, we have to understand from Glory's perspective, they're probably looking at 145 and 155. They're not really creating stars in those divisions, perhaps. Because I think, so historically, sorry, I'm thinking a few different thoughts here, but in Glory, their lightweight division is quite good in terms of ticket sales. It's selling better than welterweight, middleweight, or light heavyweight is. And historically and currently in combat sports, that is actually pretty accurate. That's pretty much always the case. If you look at stars across any combat sports, you have heavyweights. And heavyweights always sell. Doesn't matter what you're doing, heavyweights sell. And then middleweight, light heavyweight, those kind of mid zones don't sell amazingly well. But what typically sells is the very small fighters. And let me give you a list of that just so you're not, I know that you're typing out the reply now. I hear it. Give me a second. Whoever you're about to say, you might throw an Anderson Silva at me. Yeah, he was a star, all that stuff. Let me ask you, whatever fighter you're about to throw my way, ask yourself, is that fighter more famous than Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Tenshin Nasukawa, Conor McGregor, or Buakaw? So all those fighters I just listed sold out stadiums or millions on pay-per-views, and they were all 70 kilogram or smaller. So again, yes, there were stars in that welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight range across boxing, MMA, kickboxing, whatever it might be. There were stars, but in terms of those major crossover stars who sold out stadiums and millions on pay-per-view, typically it's your heavyweights, and then it's your very small fighters that you can make stars out of. Even the most famous fighter right now is the most famous active Muay Thai fighter right now might be Rodtang. Like stop me when I'm wrong here, but he's probably the most famous. And he's tiny, right? 135. The most famous kickboxer right now, maybe Tenshin Nasukawa, but maybe he doesn't count. Sure, yeah, that's fair. Even in Glory, you can see that same pattern. Their heavyweight division is famous and really good, and their lightweight division is selling tickets. Tijani, they've made into a star, and that's very impressive that they made Tijani into a star. Apparently, just yesterday, he was saying that he is moving up to welterweight after the next fight. So he's going to fight Enrico Kell. After that, move up to welterweight division. Tijani is maybe the person I've interviewed the most in my career. I think I've interviewed him like 4 times, and every single time I ask, are you moving up to welterweight? Because the people want to know. And he says, no, I don't even walk around at that weight. So now he's going to go up to a division where maybe he doesn't have the same advantages, because at lightweight, he tends to fight quite long and lean and light. He's going to be putting on more weight for welterweight, slowing down just a little bit, and his advantages of length will not be there anymore because everyone's going to be taller than him or the same length as him. But either way, he probably gets an instant title shot. It will be a champion versus champion right away, lightweight versus welterweight. He's going to put on some weight for it. Sure. It's going to be exciting. And I know I'm going to be excited for that too. But just looking at stars, looking at exciting fights, looking at what Glory has already done for investing these divisions, I don't love this because I'm a fan of fighting. I like seeing entertaining fights. And lightweight and featherweight put on incredible fights across, and again, any combat sports, whether we're talking boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, or MMA, those smaller weight classes are where exciting, good action is always happening. And that's where your crossover stars outside of heavyweight are built. Yes, there were crossover stars in other middle weight classes. Again, ask yourself, was that person more famous than Manny Pacquiao? Was that person more famous than Floyd Mayweather? Were they were famous in the combat sports world, like Chuck Liddell. Was he bigger than Floyd Mayweather? Was he a really big crossover star? Was, Chael Sonnen really that famous? Was he more famous than Manny Pacquiao? And maybe there's going to be arguments in there. Canelo is one of those people who's certainly a little bit on the heavier side. He's not 70 kilogram or lower, and he's definitely a crossover star. Yes, there are examples of that, but by and large, your Conor McGregors, your Buakaus, people like this, they're very small divisions. So I think thinking long term, I just think this isn't a great idea. But again, this is the decision that they've made. I would love to see tomorrow all of the Glory 70 kilogram fighters to be in that K-1 tournament. I would love that. That would be amazing. I would be over the moon with that. I think that's the right move here. You also have Shingiz Alazov trying to leave his one championship contract. It's probably not going to happen, but he did say, I want to do fights in Belarus and Russia. And if you're Glory and you're looking to collaborate with other people, that is someone and some promoters that you can collaborate with and do Glory rivals with against Shingiz Alazov and his gym and people like that. You can set up an event very easily to keep your fighters busy where you're not taxing too much on your own side and paying too much for your own fighters because you're sending them essentially to another promotion and just slapping your name on it, just like they should be doing with K-1. So yeah, it depends on what they do with these fighters in the future. If they're just freezing it and leaving it at that, that sucks. If they are sending all these fighters to K-1, to Rise, whatever it might be, merging it with another promotion, amazing. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of that kind of stuff. So that would be instant forgiveness, and I would love to see that. But I am ever the optimist. So I really do hope that we see these people all in the K-1 tournament, and I hope that Glory changes their mind and reinvests into 70 kilograms, reinvests into 65 kilograms, and then opens a 135-pound division as well, because that's where the action is happening across all combat sports. And also, I'll throw another idea at you as well, but they want to invest. Like, this is just speculation based on their actions, not anything that they've said, but they want to do welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight because other kickboxing organizations aren't very competitive in those weight classes. So totally, completely get it. Absolutely. But Glory really does tend to focus very European. And I just mean like 5 countries. Like obviously the Netherlands, a little bit of France, a little bit of Germany, and then like what? I guess, and then maybe Estonia and maybe Bulgaria. When we look at like, let's invest into light heavyweight because no one else has light heavyweights. Yeah, but you guys are just signing fighters from the same 5 countries. You're not looking at like Central Asia fighters. You guys don't sign fighters from that area for some reason. You guys don't sign fighters from the US. You guys don't sign fighters from South America. So even if you can really invest in that division, so I'm hoping that they are expanding those divisions to have more fighters outside of the same countries in Europe and outside of Europe altogether. Because if you really want to invest in those divisions, please, I don't want to see a bunch of more Dutch fighters in it. I want to see fighters from all over the world actually compete in this. Whereas you can see at 70 kilograms across all the divisions, it's a very global thing. Like name a handful of countries and one of those fighters is fighting at 70 kilograms in one of the major promotions. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do. We'll wait for the announcements tomorrow. Like Glory might change their mind, of course, as well. Like I think they probably will. I think they probably will relent. I think the kickboxing community, based on the reaction, like vexport.info and others, or vexportinfo.nl and others have had quite a negative reaction to this. So I honestly think they will relent because that's where the fights happen. That's really exciting stuff. And on the other side, I do hope that they invest more into their middle divisions, right? Their middleweights, their welterweights, their light heavyweights, their heavyweights, but more fighters from other countries that aren't just the Netherlands and the other 3 in Europe that they like get some more fighters from South America, the Americas, wherever else, Central Asia, it's just Glory tends to really focus on the same few countries. So I'm hoping to see more growth in all those divisions from all over the world if they're really going to invest into it. But again, I'm being selfish. I'm being greedy. I want to see fighters from all over the world compete against the best fighters in the world. I don't want to see organizations shrink themselves. I want to see organizations that I work with grow. Why would I want the organizations I work with to shrink themselves, right? I know the UFC in the past was that, and they expanded later on. But could you imagine the UFC today if it was just welterweight and up? It would be a ghost town without the 145s, the 135s, and even 155s. Without those, it's just a ghost town there, right? But yeah, so I think it's not great to do this, but we'll see where those 70-kilogram fighters end up. All right, let's take a quick break off of that. When we come back with a little bit of RWS Muay Thai, some Saenchai, some One Friday Fights at 51, and a little bit of National Muay Thai Day. Thank you for listening to the Calf Kick Sports Network. Make sure to check out more interviews, highlights, and podcasts on the interview channels. Additionally, make sure to check out Calf Kick Sports on Instagram. Links for all of these will be down below. Now, back to the show. Folks, welcome back. Appreciate your time. Let's talk a little bit about National Muay Thai Day, which was just yesterday. In Thailand, there are a few different National Muay Thai days celebrating different parts of Muay Thai. I think there's also a Muay Thai Children's Day or something like that. But yeah, there's different Muay Thai days. So I think there's 2 main events per year, but yesterday was National Muay Thai Day. So happy National Muay Thai Day. It's a sport that has been around arguably for thousands of years in varying form. Martial arts in Thailand dates back various millennia. There were stories of Rueshi monks or Ruesi monks traveling to Thailand and teaching people martial arts. And then they began practicing different regional martial arts. And this would be known as Muay Boran. And then there are different styles of Muay Boran, which are, apparently I say that wrong, correct me when I'm wrong here, but Muay Boran, and then there's different like Muay Lop Buri and Muay and other ones based on the region that it comes from, like Muay Karat and stuff like that. Different styles based on different regions. So Muay Boran is the archaic name of Muay Thai before Muay Thai was formalized with rules, rings, gloves, that sort of stuff. Muay Boran was just the general term for martial arts in Thailand before Muay Thai became formalized. And Muay Boran is also a very vague name, so a lot of things get lumped in with Muay Boran that maybe we wouldn't recognize as part of Muay Thai today. There is Krabi Krabong, which is a weapons-based system, and yeah, we probably wouldn't recognize that today. Muay Boran was also included in the Thai military for several hundreds of years. So in case you ever lose your weapon in combat, you have something to rely on, and a lot of the traditions from Muay Thai are still tied to those military traditions to this day. So there are various legends and stuff like that, but I think the most famous Muay Thai practitioner in history, they call him Priya Prachai, the broken sword. So he lost his sword in battle and then was able to still win the battle just by using moves from Muay Boran. Muay Boran was also largely taught by Buddhist monks. And what a lot of soldiers would do is get pieces of cloth from their home, like from your mother or from your wife, a piece of cloth. And then you would get it blessed by a Buddhist monk. And then you get that when you go into battle, you would wrap it around your arm, wrap it around your bicep. And today, that's where the tradition of Prajiyad comes from. The Mongkon also comes from that same sort of tradition. And again, it's the same idea as what we see in Muay Thai fighters today. It's meant to bring good luck in battle. It's meant to keep you safe from injuries, that sort of thing. There's so much I've written about Muay Thai and Muay Boran, and I didn't take any notes before talking about this, and there's so much I've forgotten. So I apologize if there's like major legends and other things that I've completely forgotten. But yes, there are major points in Muay Thai's history that are very, very important. But the most important was about 100 years ago when the king decided to formalize it. So before 100 years ago, Muay Thai competitions or Muay Boran competitions were fought under really any set of rules, with any set of gloves, with any kind of ring, really. So they were mainly fought at Buddhist temples, and they could be bare knuckle, they could be hemp rope, they could have some other form of glove like leather or whatever it might be. And the rules would vary based on what region you were in. So some forms of Muay Boran actually do have submissions or some form of ground fighting. Other forms do not have that at all. So it varies quite widely based on where you are. About 100 years ago, the king said, and I think he was influenced by French nationals or something like that, but he said, like, let's make one form, we'll call it Muay Thai or Thai boxing, and all across Thailand, we have the same set of rules. And that's when they formalized the rules, the gloves, the rings, the time limits, the rounds, all that sort of stuff. So Muay Thai became one set of formalized rules, and those set of rules are what we still use today. So even though Muay Thai, you could make the argument that it dates back 2,000 years to these monks who were teaching martial arts to various people, you could make that argument absolutely. As we currently know it, as we currently see it, Muay Thai dates back about 100 years. And over time, Muay Thai, the perception of it has really changed in Thailand it had a very big golden era. They were selling out stadiums. It was a national event. People like Sam Art and others were household names and were recognized and mobbed on the street, and he was getting movie deals and TV deals and stuff like that. The golden age was incredible. For the last little while here, 20, 30 years or something like that, Muay Thai has largely been a sport considered for gamblers, old people, and foreigners. So when you go, and you can kind of see it in the marketing that Muay Thai is, for Muay Thai stadiums, it is largely marketed to foreigners who, like, you have to do this experience in Bangkok or else you didn't have an experience in Bangkok. And then apparently the only people there are other foreigners or gamblers. And because of this perception, Muay Thai has kind of fallen off of the mainstream in Thailand. Despite really having a lot of history and national pride, for the last 20 years, people weren't paying attention to it because it was kind of considered a low-class sport. It was a sport for poor people. And the reason a lot of people get into Muay Thai at all is to make a little bit of money for their family. And you can hear it with people like Stamp Fairtex or Rod Tang or really anyone like Saenchai has the same story, but they didn't grow up with opportunities to do something else. They grew up in a way where they had to make money for their family. So they fought Muay Thai, and they didn't get paid much for doing it. But that's also why a lot of Muay Thai fighters fight every week. If you're only getting $5 or just like 50 baht a fight, you have to fight every week to make enough money for your family. But even Rod Tang said, like, I didn't want to do Muay Thai. I wanted to play soccer or go to school, but I needed to make money for my family today. And Muay Thai gave me that opportunity. I think Saenchai said something very similar, where he actually fought Muay Thai in secret to bring money for his family because his family wouldn't let him, but he knew that his family needed money. And again, so when you zoom out on all of those things, you can see like why a lot of people in Thailand just view this as a sport for poor people, because it really exploits the underclass. And I'm not going to get into that too in depth because we'll be here all day. And like if we talk about exploitation of fighters in Muay Thai, we have to look at exploitation of fighters across all combat sports. And that's a pretty big subject, but we'll just summarize it by saying that fight sports are very exploitative regardless. But apparently, and I'm going to be talking about this later in the week with Andrew Whitelaw, I talked about it with Matt Lucas as well, one championship with their Lumpini deal has maybe brought back Muay Thai to the center stage. Whether or not that's actually true, I don't really know, but that's kind of what I'm hearing, is that Muay Thai is doing fairly well in Thailand. Whether it will be lasting impact, whether the perception of Muay Thai will change, whether it will be considered a national source of pride once again, I don't entirely know. But if you are a middle class or upper class person in Thailand and your child wants to play sports, they're most likely to do futsal, which is indoor soccer, football, or taekwondo apparently. Those are considered upper class sports. Muay Thai is for the poorer people. So yeah, that's the story of Muay Thai. I know that I left a lot out, that there's a lot more details, there's a lot more nuance. So let me know what other details and ideas and stuff like that I missed. Just last week, Saenchai got another victory. He got a decision victory, but scored a knockdown from a nice question mark kick. The legend, 43 years old, Saenchai, still active, still fighting. He really fought. He was really one of the greatest of all times. He just missed the golden age just slightly, but regardless, his legacy is very secure, being one of the most famous fighters in Muay Thai, being one of the most successful fighters in Muay Thai. And yeah, I also really like the career idea is that you can retire from competitive Muay Thai and just fight white dudes and beat them up. you know, Farang, you can just beat these people up, get like 40 wins in a row, beating up white people, and it's a spectacle because of it. I think that's a great idea. So congratulations, Saenchai. He is an absolute legend. He deserves all the success in the world. Just an incredible, incredible person, incredible, incredible fighter. Last week in Raja Damnaran Stadium, you had Dom Tong defeat Pechtanong. This was for one of the stadium titles. Really good fight where Dom Tong was knocked down early in the first round and then he was forced to rally back to earn a decision win. But yeah, it was a really fun, really good, really competitive fight. You can check out the highlights on the RWS YouTube. Some other good fights on the card as well, but upcoming this weekend, main event between Shaila versus View. This is a really good fight, and we're also going to have the stadium featherweight title on the line. So Shaila was one of the fighters that we were looking at as like pound for pound, very important, and probably Muay Thai Fighter of the Year 2023 because he got a bunch of victories, picked up a Raja Damnaran Stadium title in 2023, really deserves it off of a good streak, and then on the last day of the year, he gets knocked out. So he wasn't considered for Fighter of the Year after that. But regardless, like that's the nature of Muay Thai, is that you fight so frequently that sometimes you lose. It just happens. He's still an extremely quality and good fighter. Now he's going to be looking to defend his title against View. View, a lot of my listeners will know because he was fighting in K-1 for so long. And just an incredibly, incredibly talented fighter. I think these two guys combined, it's like a 23-year-old versus a 24-year-old or something like that. Just really, really young people. So that's going to be a really good fight. I'm really looking forward to that one. Also on the card will be Superbon. Last week we had Pechmorakot. This week we have Superbon. Of course, not the Pechmorakot. Of course, not the Superbon. Someone else with the same name, but wow. Great. Amazing. RWS always does good stuff and good fights. They're really good stuff out from Raja Damnaran Stadium. Make sure to check out my video. I just did a breakdown on Lamnam Moonlek versus Samingdet. This was the tournament final. Title was on the line, and it was a really good tactical fight. It was just a few strikes decided the entire fight because of how close it was. I think it was tied from the fourth round going into the fifth. So it was a really close fight. And I just talked about a few of the things that Lamnam Moonlek did different to walk away with the judge's decision because it was a very good fight. So make sure to check out that video essay I did. Should be on the Kafka Sports channel. Oh, this Friday, you also have one Friday Fights 51. So I vary my coverage on the Friday Fight series because sometimes it's like the Friday Fight series are incredible and amazing, and sometimes they're passable. But this Friday is one of the very good ones. So in the main event, you have Rambolek taking on Soner Sen. Oh my God, what a good fight. I'm so excited for that one. You also have Samingdan taking on Seksan. Seksan is must-see TV. I don't care who he's fighting. He's always exciting, but he's fighting Samingdan, so it's just awesome. I love it. Junior Fairtex is back. A lot of people are looking forward to the future of Junior Fairtex. She's going to be fighting Angela Chang. Avatar is fighting as well. He's going to be fighting Muvlad Tupayev, but a lot of people are really excited for the future of Avatar. Muhammad Butasa will be fighting, who is, I think, still the Infusion World Champion in kickboxing. He's known probably for having a close loss to Saenchai or a close loss to Mohamed Sinari, but he's just coming off of a win against Furkan. Now he's going to be fighting this weekend against Dmitry Shangelia. That's going to be a kickboxing bout. Ton of really good fights on the card that I didn't mention, but yeah, the main two fights, Rambolek versus Soner, and you have Samingdan versus Seksan Fairtex. Amazing. You also make sure to watch Junior Fairtex. Also make sure to watch Junior Fairtex and the Muhammad Butasa fight. Those are going to be really good ones and important fights for the future, and I think they're going to be really entertaining. But yeah, the entire card, the one Friday Fights this week is going to be a really good one. I'm really looking forward to this one. People did want a longer episode. So, what else is going on in the world of fight sports? Do I check the UFC? Does anyone even care when I listen for that long? Does anyone even listen so long that they listen to my MMA part? Because I know people respond to the Muay Thai and kickboxing part. I put MMA at the end and no one has ever responded to it. But there's just no demand for more MMA writers, right? There's no demand for more MMA coverage. So that's why I tended not to talk about it. But if there is some demand, I'll try to offer my opinion on it. It doesn't help that the main show, the UFC, has just put on nothing for the last little while. And when I say nothing, I don't mean literally nothing. I know that there's been fights. There have been middleweight fights from the Apex. Think we're going to talk about that? No one cares. The UFC barely cares that those were going on, right? So why would I care? So there's a fight event coming up later this month, February 24th. This is going to be the PFL champions versus Bellator champions live from Saudi Arabia. I'll be flying out for this one to cover in Saudi. I've never been to Riyadh before. I've never been to Saudi before, so I'm really excited for this one. I think I'm going to try to cover it as much as possible from maybe shorts, maybe videos leading up, interviews with the fighters, of course. There on the ground, I'll do one-on-one interviews with the fighters, both before and after the fight. I think it's going to be really good. And I'll try to do a travel blog with it as well, just because I've never been there before. So I'll try to film my experience and maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff for MMA media. That'll be part of the travel blog. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun card. I'm really looking forward to the event itself. It's going to be a busy weekend there. But yeah, if anyone else is going out to the Saudi Arabian event, please let me know and we'll hook up. We'll hang out in Riyadh, man. We got time. I think I'll also be going to the Heavyweight Grand Prix in March. I'll keep you posted on that one. It's not, fully approved yet. It's quite a competitive one for media to get in. I will let you folks know. And if there's anyone in Arnhem or the region, let me know and we'll try to hang out then. But yeah, folks, that is it for Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton. We had news from Glory, Rise, K-1. We talked One Championship. We talked RWS. We talked Muay Thai and history. Talked a ton of stuff. Folks, if there's any other subjects you'd like me to cover or talk more about or anything that I missed, please let me know down below in the comments. Reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you might be, and I'll be happy to chat with you or talk about it on air next week. Folks, I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.